My love for cooking comes from homemade meals I grew up on that were lovingly made by my mom, who loves a variety of flavors and doesn't have a recipe for a single dish she's ever made. So today I'm gonna show you my mom's mix of everyday meals, family favorites, and lots of delicious Vietnamese dishes, including spring rolls, chicken pho, and so much more. Also, nothing would make my mom happier than you subscribing to my channel and supporting her efforts. Now let's start off with Vietnamese rice rolls, aka bánh cuốn. Soak wooden ear mushrooms and then cut them up into small pieces. Then chop up some green onions and fry with pork mince. Add all-purpose seasoning and black pepper. This is the all-purpose seasoning that my mom likes to use for a lot of her dishes, and honestly, it's really good. Let's just say it's our own version of MSG. We like to use food mixer or processor to make mincemeat really small. Then fry up mushrooms, add mincemeat and seasoning, and some more spring onions. For batter, we're using rice flour, and usually we just follow the instructions on the packaging. We also add neutral oil and then just look at batter consistency. You want your batter to be quite liquidy and thin, because these rice rolls should be steamed. Unfortunately, we don't have a special steamer, so we just use a frying pan. Don't add too much batter and make sure that your pan is really hot. Cover with a lid and check that it's done. Unlike most crepes or pancakes, you don't need to flip over rice rolls because technically we're just trying to steam them. Then add your filling in one long line and start rolling. You'll see that the first roll is slightly thick, so we added a bit more water to our batter to thin it out. As you can see, the second roll is way thinner than the first one. That's because we want our rice rolls to be soft. We don't want them heavy. For sauce, combine fish sauce, water, sugar, lime, and chilies, and you get one version of nước chấm. Serve with fried shallots, coriander, and the sauce. And this is bánh cuốn. God, I love this.
Соус вообще. Ну да, конечно, на пару вкуснее, но нормально.
Оно нежнее.
Да. One of my favorite dishes ever. My mom is really good at making Vietnamese sauces. Her sauces are just top notch. And whenever I ask for a recipe, it's always, you just taste it. The true essence of Asian cooking. And you definitely gotta eat this dish while it's hot.
Moving on to the next dish. Rice noodles with chicken and soy sauce, otherwise known as bún chop. This one is just my mom's improvised dish that combines Vietnamese and Chinese cuisines. As a base, we have boiled chicken and rice noodles. As for the sauce, we just combine sugar, seasoning, chilies, soy sauce, and garlic. Cut up chicken into bite-sized pieces and lay on top of rice noodles. Add coriander and spring onions and finish off with the sauce.
Ой, у меня прям живот болит от того, что я голодная. Мне кажется, лапша чуть-чуть переварена.
And now, one of the most popular Vietnamese dishes, fried spring rolls, otherwise known as nem rán. We're starting off with the filling. Peel and grate 1 carrot and add it to a bowl. Quickly rinse rice noodles, cut them up, and add to grated carrots along with some bean sprouts. Soak wooden ear mushrooms and then cut them up into small pieces. Add mincemeat, mushrooms, spring onions, vegetable seasoning, black pepper, and 2 eggs. Mix thoroughly. If you've ever tried Vietnamese food, you know that we serve pretty much everything with a plate of herbs. Prepare a separate bowl with water, add a little bit of vinegar, and my mom also likes to use this Vietnamese brown coloring, but you can literally just use water and nothing else. Damp rice paper with a sponge and make sure that the whole surface is wet. It will still be quite firm, but it will soften very quickly. Add a bit of filling in a log shape on one side of the wrapper. Tightly fold the wrapper over the filling and then fold the edges of the wrapper towards the middle. Continue rolling the spring roll forward while tucking in the front to prevent any air pockets. Continue with the rest of spring rolls, and in the meantime, heat up lots of neutral oil in a pan. Your oil should be really hot, so when you add spring rolls to a pan, you want to make sure that they immediately start sizzling. Leave enough space between every spring roll because the skins will be sticky until a crust forms. Flip them over from time to time and cook each batch for 5 to 6 minutes or until golden brown. And of course, we're gonna make some nước chấm to go with our spring rolls. Combine fish sauce, water, sugar, lime, garlic, and chilies, and mix. We usually cut up our spring rolls just because it's easier to eat them this way. Oh, and in case you're wondering about my nasty hair, it's drenched in hair mask, okay? Just like the spring roll is drenched in fish sauce. Now, while this next dish is less popular than spring rolls, it's so good, and personally, I think it's quite underrated. Incoming, thịt bò xào khoai tây, aka fried beef with potatoes. First, we're gonna peel some potatoes and cut up beef into thin slices. Then, parboil potatoes and coat them in cornstarch before frying them in hot oil. To our beef, we're gonna add baking soda, garlic, black pepper, and all-purpose seasoning and oyster sauce. You can use any veggies you want for this dish. In our case, we have bell peppers, red onions, celery, and leeks. And now, everything's gonna come together very quickly. As you can see, we fry up our meat and veggies, and as soon as veggies are cooked, garnish with some coriander, and voila! For dipping sauce, simply mix some chilies with sriracha and soy sauce.
Смотри, чтобы не сильно солоно.
Ага. Выглядит вообще супер блюдо.
Классно.
Мясо мягкое.
Очень. Мясо сам по себе он хороший.
А что за часть?
А что ты знаешь?
My mom made rice porridge for breakfast, and this time I had it with salted duck eggs, which I've never tried in my life before. And I think you can tell by my reaction that I was not a fan of those. Honestly, I was quite surprised because I thought that I would love salted duck eggs, but I just found them ridiculously salty and not to my liking. Luckily, that porridge was followed by one of my favorite dishes ever, chicken pho. Chicken is obviously the main ingredient here, so make sure to get a really good one. My mom likes to use the so-called soup chickens, which are different from regular chickens that you can find in a grocery store. They seem to be thinner and longer, and you can usually find them hanging at food markets. Start off by boiling your chicken with some ginger and all-purpose seasoning. Leave it out to cook for an hour and a half or until the chicken is fully cooked. Once it's cooked, take out the chicken and let it rest. You can also put it in ice bath to prevent it from cooking any further because you don't want your meat to be dry. Then add shallots or onions into the broth. Usually you would grill onions and ginger on the stove until they're properly charged. What? I mean charred. But since we have an induction stove, we just grilled our shallots in the oven. Then add Chinese cinnamon, star anise, and some more seasoning. Prepare coriander and spring onions and cut up chicken into bite-sized pieces. The best way to cook pho noodles is to put them in hot but not boiling water for a few minutes, then rinse them, and that's it. This helps not to overcook your noodles. If you're wondering why we didn't add any fish sauce or rock sugar to our pho, that's because in northern Vietnam we don't do that. That's a southern version, and we obviously think that the northern version is way better. So no fish sauce please. Just clear broth, lots of herbs and meat, and that's it. If you're interested in beef pho, I also have a separate video on that, and there I talk about the differences between northern and southern pho as well. What I really like about chicken pho is that it's light and it's way easier and quicker to make. Moving on to our next dish, egg noodles with beef and veggies. Misao thịt bò. This is once again just my mom improvising, so she just had random veggies like celery, tomato, leeks, munchtu, aka sugar peas, mushrooms, and spring onions. Thinly slice beef and add garlic and seasoning to it. Cook your noodles according to instructions. Quickly fry up meat and set aside. Then fry your cooked noodles until they develop crust. Personally, I don't like noodles with crust, but my mom absolutely loves it. In a separate pan, cook mushrooms with some garlic and meat juice. While mushrooms are cooking, prepare the sauce. Combine soy sauce, oyster sauce, and hot sauce. Make a slurry out of cornstarch and cold water and add it to the sauces along with some sugar. Then cook the sauce on the stove until sugar dissolves. Add your veggies to mushrooms and the sauce. Finally, add meat. Plate noodles first and then add the meat and veggie mixture on top. Season with some black pepper, and here you have misao thịt bò. Very simple and homey dish with crunchy veggies and tender meat. Now, our next dish is beef with veggies. Again. Okay, no. I know you guys have seen it already. It's just so good that I asked my mom to make it again. So here's some more footage of thịt bò xào khoai tây. And now let's actually move on to the next dish, which is sticky rice with Chinese sausage, or soy lap xưởng. For sticky rice, the general rule of thumb is you let it soak overnight and then steam it until it's cooked. My instructions couldn't have been more vague, but the reality is that there are lots of varieties of sticky rice, so it's best to try out on your own and adjust accordingly. We like to eat sticky rice with Chinese sausage and just let it steam through and then cut up and serve.
На сколько баллов ты оценишь сой?
Сой? Сой супер. Чего?
Правильно.
У Лаос очень вкусный рис. Да.
Папа, как мамина еда? Добавь нам сау.
Даже если трехзвездный, мне надо сказать 5.
Спасибо за комплимент. Блин. Я спрашивала, если меня дома нету. Я нету, никого нет. Как он себе кормит?
Самой.
Вот хороший вариант.
On some days, instead of cooking, my mom just gets frozen food, like these char buns and prawn dumplings. While usually I like frozen dumplings, I have to say, these were literally the worst frozen dumplings I've ever had in my life.
Что?
Хрень какая-то. Хреновые пельмени.
Я люблю другой. Креветки.
А эти креветки, они
эти,
прям
да,
ужасные.
я люблю.
Yeah, sorry, мама, я даже не буду это есть. I'll stick to broccoli. Реально, я даже один съесть не могу.
And now, presenting the final dish, creamy chicken mushroom pasta. We start off by cooking chicken with all-purpose seasoning in one pot and mushrooms in another. You can also cook mushrooms in the chicken stock that you get from cooking chicken earlier. Cook your pasta according to instructions. In a pan, mix neutral oil, butter, and garlic. Then add flour. Basically, we're making roux. Then slowly add milk till the roux fully dissolves and add shredded cheese. Then add mushrooms, more seasoning if needed, and a last ingredient, spinach. Plating time! First goes pasta, then chicken, and then we'll finish it off with our sauce. And we get this very creamy, very savory, and really delicious chicken mushroom pasta. Super simple, yet super flavorful.
Супер.
And that's all the dishes that my mom makes throughout the week that are comforting, slightly improvised, but always delicious. Honestly, sometimes I'm even jealous of myself for eating all this amazing food. And no matter how much I try to copy and perfect the recipes, it's still not the same as when my mom makes it, because anything she touches turns to gold. Gosh, even doing this voiceover makes me hungry. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested to see what I cook in a week, watch this video right here.